Welcome to the Effortless English Show with the world's #1 English teacher, AJ Hogue, where AJ's more than 40 million students worldwide finally learn English once and for all, without the boring textbooks, classrooms, and grammar drills. Here's AJ with a quick piece to help you learn to speak fluent English effortlessly.
I'm AJ Hogue, author of Effortless English, Learn to Speak English Like a Native. It's February. This means St. Valentine's Day. St. Valentine's Day is coming soon, which of course is a holiday that is about love. So we have a special topic today, special interview with Acharya again, and we'll be talking about love, but love from the Dharmic perspective, right? From the perspective of natural law, from a deeper and more philosophical perspective, looking at love. So let's just go right to the interview, shall we? And I'll try to get to your questions a little earlier. I know that I get quite interested in what Acharya is saying, and I know the last couple interviews I haven't given you many opportunities to ask questions. I'll try to be better about it this time. Let's just go straight to the Skype call. Oh, I gotta uncover my camera. There we go. Here we go. And get you on the screen here. Hello.
Very good.
Hey, namaste. Good to see you.
Namaste.
Great to see you.
Very good seeing you. Yeah, likewise. It's very good seeing you as well. I hope you've been doing well.
Yes, I've been busy but doing well. Thank you very much.
Very good.
Is
the beard new?
Yeah, this is my winter beard.
Very good. I used that during the winters in the past, have a winter beard.
Thank you for joining us again.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
I'm just I'm trying to get situated on my cameras. 1 second. Sorry. Let's see.
Oh, take your time.
Okay. Just make sure I'm still there. All right. I think we're good. Okay, great. So really interesting topic today. We're going to talk about love. But and I think that it's an important topic. Of course, we have Valentine's Day coming up. But I know that this is an area of my life when I was young, and when I say young, I mean for, let's say 20 years. Well, I could almost calculate, almost 20 years. That caused me a lot of pain. Because I, like a lot of young men, got all my ideas about love from Hollywood movies and television. And I think, young men, young women, and older men and women also find themselves in this situation. But of course, there's a much deeper perspective on love, and that's what I'd love to talk to you about. I'll just give you the very general question first of just, can you just talk a bit about, the Dharmic perspective on love? What is it, and how does it differ from the modern? Oops, sorry, wrong camera. Okay, great, please.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, again, thank you so much for arranging this interview with me. I truly appreciate it. And it is a very important topic, actually, and it's interesting how, as a spiritual teacher, I speak about so many different topics and people interview me on so many different topics. Yet this topic doesn't come up as often as you would think, even though it's something that's crucial. It's something that affects pretty much every human being. Everyone is looking for love or has been in love, etc. And this is something that has caused a lot of joy and pain in the lives of so many individuals. And yet, interestingly, again, I haven't had much of an opportunity to talk about this. So thank you very much for wanting to talk to me about this specific topic. And it's very true, actually, that unfortunately, as is true with so many topics and issues that are of crucial importance, many people get their ideas about these topics, yes, from movies, from the media, from television, silly love songs, all sorts of things like that. So as a result, yes, unfortunately, there have been so many mixed messages and wrong messages that have been given about what is the nature of love. And what also makes it difficult for individuals to truly grasp what it means to truly love is the fact that it is indeed an all-encompassing sort of topic. It's not an easy topic. It's a topic that involves everything we could say, from the most immediate biological urge all the way up to the level of transcendence and
Yes.
eternal love and everything in between, everything from literally just biological instinct to romance to marriage to loving God. What does it mean to love God, etc.? So yeah, it's a very all-encompassing topic. But of course, we're going to talk about love more in the relationship to relationship itself and marriage, etc. So we'll, for the most part, stick to that. First of all, what is the nature of love in accordance with the Vedic perspective? Well, of course, for most Westerners, love is just an emotion. Love is something that you feel that kind of comes of its own accord when you are when you have physical proximity to someone who you are attracted to. And it tends to remain within the realm of emotion. Sometimes you act on it, sometimes you don't. And that's pretty much it for most people.
Yeah.
Well, the Vedic perspective, yeah, that's what it is for most. The Vedic perspective goes much deeper than this, with the idea that true love is not merely a matter of emotion. It's not merely a matter of, oh, I have physical proximity to this person. Now I'm feeling something that I must act upon, etc. Rather, love is not just an emotion. It's a conscious commitment. It's a conscious commitment to dedicate yourself to someone who indeed is of great importance to you and gives your life meaning and satisfaction and fulfillment. And as I say these things, of course, for people who have seen my previous videos, they know that when I speak in such terms, I tend to be talking about God.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, we can feel this for each other as well. Human beings can feel this for each other. This sense of, oh, this is someone who, when I'm with this person, I feel fulfilled. I have meaning in my life. And more, it's not just a fleeting emotion. It's not just a biological, let's say, lust-filled sort of instinct, but rather it's something in which I have this overwhelming idea within me that, no, I want to actually be with this person. And this is true love. Again, not just an emotion, but a commitment. The idea that, yes, this is someone who I so am fulfilled in their company that I want to be with this person for the rest of my life, and perhaps even beyond. This is the nature of love, and more than this. When one approaches love in this idea of commitment versus just emotion, it also becomes the true fulfillment of love itself, the true fruition of love. And that is that love ultimately is not something that's selfish. It's something that, on the contrary, is selfless. See, this is the difference between, let's say, infatuation versus real love. With infatuation, it's all about me. It's all about, oh, this person fulfills my expectations. I like the way they look. They make me laugh, and it's all about me and me and me. That's infatuation. But what is true love? Love is that, yes, this person makes me very happy when I'm with them, but more than this, I want to make them happy in turn. I want to make them happy. What I am feeling, these wonderful feelings, I want to ensure that this person who I love is also feeling these feelings. And if I had the power to do so, 1,000-fold, I want them to feel blissful and happy and protected and fulfilled, etc. So this is the nature of true love. It's not taking, it's giving. It's wanting to give to another because you so value who they are that this is the feeling that overcomes you. This is the urge that overcomes you, not just one of, what can I get from this person, but what can I give to this person? See, this is the demarcation. This is where you know that you have gone from just an infatuation, just an emotion, to now actual love. It is when you are saying to yourself, what can I do for this person?
Yeah.
In such a way that I express my love for this person. So that's the Vedic understanding of what true love is. And of course, everything that I'm describing, it applies to other people in our lives. It applies obviously romantically. If you're a man and there's a woman who you love, or if you're a woman and there's a man who you love. And it applies even to our children. Oh, when you love your children,
Yeah, that's what I was
you know,
thinking.
you have children. I have a son. When you have a child and you love them, you're not thinking about yourself. You're thinking, how do I make this child happy?
Yeah.
How do I give of myself, even if it means sacrifice, even if it means I have to work extra hours, I have to give of my time. What can I do to make this child happy? So it applies to others. It also, of course, applies to God as well. And
Yes.
that's the ultimate love. This is also how we should approach love for God. People hear this term all the time, including for me. Oh, love God, loving God. Well, this is what it means to love God, that it's not merely our thinking, oh, what can God do for me? What has God
Mm.
given me today?
Yeah.
And maybe at best, oh, I'm grateful for what God has given me, which is nice. But ultimately, what it means to love God is to not even think about what God has given me, not even think about what I should be grateful for because God gave it to me, but rather, what can I do for God? How
Mm.
can I give, in fact, to God? It's one of those interesting conundrums. How do I give out of love to that being who needs nothing?
Yeah, yeah.
you know, it's like, everyone's had this experience where it's around Christmas time and you're going to give a present to someone who doesn't need anything. It's like they have everything already. It's like, oh, what do I do? Well, imagine that infinite fold. And this is God. I love God. I want to give to God, but how do I give to that being who really needs nothing?
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. You have that desire nonetheless, and that's love. You know
Mm.
God needs nothing,
Mm.
and still you want to give of yourself to God. That's the ultimate love. But again, true love is of this nature. It is selfless.
It's as you're talking about this, I was thinking again, kind of comparing it to, I say Hollywood, but let's just say the kind of the popular conception, but especially as we as are portrayed in the media. And what's interesting is if you think of like most Hollywood romances, they really end where you're starting, right? I mean, the end is when the guy gets the girl gets the guy, and maybe a commitment is beginning, right? But it's all about the chase and the ups and downs and the emotions and all of that. But then the actual commitment is kind of like, oh yeah, and then that happens. Maybe it happens later. Like they don't show it. Like it's not. That's not important. What's important is this exciting surge of emotions in this roller coaster, and then afterwards, whatever, right? But what you're saying is that's where it actually begins. Is that commitment, that desire to contribute to the other.
Yeah, it's interesting. This is a nice analogy that we can use to understand this. It's kind of like you're someone who loves food. You love to eat. You love good food, really well cooked, wonderful, flavorful, interesting food. And imagine that you go to a restaurant, and it's the kind of restaurant where the chef is a world-class chef. Oh, he's famous, but he hears that you're there, and for some reason he wants you to come back and watch him cook your meal, and you go back and you're watching him. And he's creating this elaborate meal. You're just watching his expertise. He doesn't even have to use measuring spoons. He just kind of knows, okay, that much, oh, this much. And he's like a master. And you're just enthralled watching this. And he cooks for like an hour. And then finally he's done and the meal is prepared and he puts it on a beautiful plate. And when he's all done, he says to you, well, I'm glad that you enjoyed watching me make this meal for you. And then he takes the food and he throws it in the garbage.
Right.
And he doesn't give it to you. He doesn't let you eat it. It's like, well, that's nice. I watched all this preparation for an hour, but now I'm ready to eat. And now you don't have that fulfillment. Yeah, it's the same thing. The whole romance that Hollywood tends to show in movies and different things. You're right. It's exactly like that. It's the chase. It's everything that happens before the commitment. And you're watching these scenes. Oh, are they going to get together? Are they not? Oh, look, it looks like a problem has come up. Maybe they're not going to be together. and they play all these interesting games with each other, etc. But then it stops as soon as they come together, and when really things are supposed to begin.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same way. It's like preparing that beautiful meal, and now that it's time to eat it, oh, just throw it away. No, it's actually the commitment that's important, not just what happens all before then, looking for the right person, finding the right person, wooing them, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, obviously you need that in order to come to a point of commitment. You need to get to know each other, et cetera. But no, it's the long-term relationship after that commitment is made that actually is the manifestation of love. It's the true fruition of love. The true fruition of love comes when, again, having made that commitment to each other, yes, now marriage takes place. As you know, I'm a radical traditionalist in this way. Yes, marriage should take place, and eventually it comes to the point where they have children, etc., and they grow in true committed love. And what does that mean? See, that again, that first stage, let's say the cooking of the meal, the romantic stage before the commitment is made. That's all well and nice and fun. But the truth is, the real challenges begin and the real fruition begins after that. Because what deepens the love is when you go through challenges together.
Yeah.
You know, because this is the thing. Once you're out of that overtly romantic stage, now you've been married for 3 years, 4 years, oh, your first child is here or is coming, and you're going through struggles together, oh, economic struggles, oh, we have to pay this bill, we're having a little difficulty with this, or, someone in one of the families is ill, has cancer or something happens. It's those challenges that now deepen the love, because now you have these two people who are together on the same page. This is why it's called a partnership. The husband and wife, they are partners. And it's the challenges and the ups and downs that, if anything, help that couple to grow and to deepen their love into something that's beautiful, something that's concrete, something that is not only far beyond just an emotion, but they are creating a mountain, an immovable mountain from their relationship, such that they know that, yes, this is my family. This is my husband, my wife, now we have children. This is our edifice. This is our mountain, and we are committed to this, and their love just deepens. Done the right way, of course. Of course, I'm talking about if the two people involved are wise, are spiritual, are giving, and not self-centered, then that's what happens.
Well, and I was just thinking about this too, that as someone is looking for, let's say, a partner to because obviously, right, this is kind of one of the biggest, maybe the biggest choices for most people in their lives is choosing this partner because, as you said, building a family and dealing with those challenges. Besides just the emotions of attraction, which of course do play a part, what should someone look for in a partner when they're really looking for someone to build that? Like what kind of again, like virtues. So if they're wanting a family, a partnership, a marriage based, in something deeper than just those ups and downs. Because I think a lot of people just react, oh, she's pretty and I'm attracted to her, or oh, that guy's cool, or but from the Dharmic perspective, especially when you're thinking seriously about looking for a marriage partner, what qualities should that person have?
Sure, definitely. Well, first of all, of course, you have to find someone who's compatible with you. And that may sound like an obvious and very general statement, but let me actually explain a little deeper what is meant by that. See, the truth of the matter is, just like there are different people searching for different things for different reasons when it comes to spirituality, politics, philosophy, anything, people are not equal, people are not the same. This is true also when it comes to relationships. People are searching for different things, and it is usually reflective of who they are as a person. So, of course, the way I've just described love, since we've been speaking about this, is, of course, in a very lofty way. Well, not everyone actually is looking for that, and it's sad to think. But truthfully, not everyone is searching for that.
Yeah.
You know, some people are hearing my words and they're very inspired. Some people are hearing my words and sadly they're thinking, oh, yeah, that sounds terrible. That's not for me.
Yeah.
So the truth of the matter is, people have to look for someone who is compatible with who they are. So the truth of the matter is, if they are not a very lofty person and they find a lofty person, it's going to be incompatible.
Yeah.
You know, let's say that they are someone who they themselves don't really have very high values, but then they find someone who they're attracted to. Oh, when the person has very high values, that's not a relationship that's going to work. Unless the first person, of course, elevates their values.
Yeah.
You see, well, that's different. That's different. But yes, it's important to find someone who has, again, your same values and who's compatible with you. So that as an aside, let's deal now with, again, lofty love. Love as it should be. So this being the case, if there's an individual who is really looking for love in the highest sense, they're looking for a partner who's going to fulfill them and with whom they can have the kind of relationship I was describing, you know, where they grow together long term, etc. Well, there are several things that they have to look for. They still have to look for compatibility. That is, if they are very educated, they probably want someone also who is educated. If they themselves are someone who, let's say, comes from a certain linguistic background or something like that, you know, they want someone who understands the same language. I mean, these are all obvious things. But then when it comes to the less obvious, so that is values. Yes, if they themselves hopefully are someone who has, again, very, very high quality values, they want to find someone who reflects that. So, you know, both you and I being men, and not to make this in any way sexist, but from our perspective, let's say we were looking for a woman.
Yeah.
We would want to find someone who has indeed very traditional, very healthy sorts of values. That is, someone who today, in our skewed modern way of saying things, would be called old-fashioned.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't care for that term, you know, old-fashioned. There's no such thing as old-fashioned. There's a person who is a slave to modern fads, or there's someone who is traditional.
Yeah.
So we look for someone who is traditional. That is, who is strong enough, who is courageous enough, that they have values that they stick to. So they believe in telling the truth. They believe in morality, that is, in not stealing, not harming people, etc. They are someone who they themselves tend to think long term. They don't just react in accordance with, oh, what's in front of them. You know, if we are the sort of person who we want to think long term as far as love, that is not just surrender to our emotions right then and there, but no, we're looking for someone who we want to be with for 50, 60 years until we finally pass away or they pass away, then we need to find someone also who is like that. Let me just say this as a summation of everything I just said. You know how there's that saying that opposites attract?
Yeah.
That may or may not be true, that they attract, but one thing I can guarantee, opposites don't last. Opposites don't last. They may attract each other, and that's quite feasible, that two people might be so different that they just are kind of fascinated with each other. But one thing I can guarantee is that if you have a relationship with someone who is opposite you in every way, that's not a relationship that's going to last in any way whatsoever. So yes, this is what's important, is to find someone who has these lofty values, etc. Let me just say one other thing, which is crucial, and that is, if you are a spiritual person, I know that both yourself, many of the people in your audience who are listening to this, they are spiritual people. If you are a spiritual person, you must find someone as your partner who is spiritual. And don't let anyone lie to you about this. I've heard people have discussions where they'll say, oh, yes, no, you can be an atheist and marry someone who's spiritual, vice versa, and oh, it'll work out. No, it will not work out, actually. It's guaranteed it will not. It may for a few years, but ultimately, this is something that is of such fundamental importance to the makeup of who we are, that if you are a truly spiritual person, and you find someone who is not, or even the opposite, they're an atheist and they just despise spirituality, I can guarantee that's not a good partner for you. Yep. If you're a spiritual person, you must find someone who also is spiritual and with whom you are on the same page. Oh nice. I was involved. On this page. Yeah. spirituality. Very important. So, yes, hopefully that answers the question.
Excellent. And I promised today that I would let people ask more questions since I get fascinated. So if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and go to our live stream and read off some questions to you, if that's okay.
Absolutely, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, this is an interesting comment. Pretty deep comment, actually. Carlo says, rarely do our ideals meet reality. The eternal now seems impossible to reach. Everyone has a personal philosophy, and this relativity destroys any security, but gives a sense of freedom. Okay, so interesting. So let's see if I can condense this down to a question. What are kind of the eternal values, I guess, then, for love and relationships? Because he does make a good point of that. We live in an age now where everyone's like, oh yeah, I've got my own ideas, right? Like, oh, we'll just throw out thousands of years of tradition and of marriage and family, and we'll just do whatever, So what's your perspective on that, and I guess the dangers of that, and then the solution?
Sure. Yeah, well, it is a very good question. And let me say that the most pertinent word in his entire statement was seems.
Yes.
That is the most important and most pertinent word that he used was seems. And in other words, what I mean by that is, yes, it seems as if in our let's say, fad-chasing age in which we're living, it seems as if people no longer believe in an absolute reality, and they basically have become radically subjectivistic, very relativistic, with the idea that, oh yes, we all have our own opinion, we all have our own philosophy, and it's some lofty ideal to try to find true love, so we should simply surrender ourselves to the culture, surrender to the media, surrender to what we're being told by so many people around us who they themselves sadly have surrendered to something that is not real. Well, you can see where I'm going with this, even in just setting this up. And that is that, yes, that's an option. We can surrender to the unreal. We can surrender to this false idea that multiplicity of opinions means that there is no actual truth. But that's not the case, see, because so many people, unfortunately, have fallen for this false propaganda. This is actually not just false propaganda, but it's actually a mind control tool that has been used by our overlords. That is the idea that all opinion is relative. Why? Because everyone has one.
Yeah.
And that could not be further from the truth. Simply because you have many people who all have their own opinions about X thing, that doesn't mean that there isn't a truth about that thing. And I've given this example 100 times. 1 + 1 equals, and you have 5 people, and let's say they all have their own opinion. 1 + 1 equals a blue cow. 1 + 1 equals an earthquake. 1 + 1 equals 17. And on and on and on. Well, they all have their own opinion. Does this fact that so many people have their own opinion, however, does this negate from the absolute fact that there is a truth? 1 + 1 does not equal 17. Sorry that that's your opinion, but your opinion is wrong. 1 + 1 does not equal an earthquake. I understand that's your opinion. Your opinion is incorrect.
Yeah.
1 + 1 does not equal a blue cow. 1 + 1 equals 2, period. And that can be shown mathematically and logically. So in the same way, so many people have unfortunately surrendered to these false ideas that truth is something that's no longer attainable, that high ideals are something that are no longer attainable. See, unfortunately, again, the individuals who have controlled the globe for so long now, they want us to feel that this is the case, that truth cannot be attained. And why? Well, of course, because then once we're disarmed and we feel that there is no truth, they then inject what they claim is truth into our minds. Yes, none of you know truth. Well, listen to what we're going to tell you truth is. So it's a trick.
Yeah.
So would ask, what I would ask very humbly of the person who asked this question is, don't give in. Don't give in to people who are purposely trying to make you think that there is no truth. They're doing this on purpose to disarm you intellectually, to disarm you philosophically, and to disarm you spiritually, so that they can then inject what they want you to think truth is. You see, to say there is no such thing as truth, well, that's a truth claim. I'm claiming the truth is there is no truth. So that's what they're doing,
Right.
They are to their truth by saying there is no truth. Well, that's a truth. So again, rather than giving in to mental manipulation, understand that there is truth. No, not everyone has it, because honestly, not everyone is worthy of it. And not everyone is worthy of it because not everyone wants it.
Yeah.
Including the people who claim, oh, I want truth. Really, do you? Many people say that, but they actually don't want truth. Truth is for those individuals who have the sincerity, who have the dedication, who have the humility to do the work necessary to achieve truth. Truth is not something that you just flippantly say, oh, I want the truth, and it's delivered to you. You must earn the truth, and then you will know truth.
Next question is from Lisa. Let's see. Let me just swap my camera. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so she says, she's talking about we need to love not only those who deserve it, but also those who need it. It's very important, especially when there are hard times in the family. So that's if you could just comment, I guess, about that the point of that yeah, it's not just, that love is not just, kind of convenient, I guess.
That is an excellent comment and extremely true. Yes, again, that is the nature of love. You see, if we feel that love is an infatuation, then yes, what happens when the person we're in love with, they're having a bad day and they're not very attractive right now?
Right.
What happens at that point when, oh, we were so in love with this person? Why? Oh, they have a great personality and they're funny and fun to be with. Beautiful, all these things, but oh well, today, they are just having a tough time and they're not fun to be around today. If love is just an infatuation for us, then at that moment we leave, we're out of there. But that's not love. Yes, love means that indeed, as Lisa said, you give love to people not merely who are deserving it, but who they need love, especially then because they're having a tough time. Because they're going through something. They're going through something traumatic or some tragedy that happened, or they're just having a truly, truly bad day. Just one of those days when nothing seemed to go well for them, and now they're just depressed and even a little bit angry. Yeah, it's at that point especially that you need to love them. It's at that point especially that you don't just run away from them, but that you're there from them. You're there for them. And even if it means that you don't even say anything, because they're in such a state that even if you say something that will even make them more upset, still, just be there for them, even if just silently. They know that you're in the room with them and you haven't abandoned them. That will be healing. Just having them know that you're there and that you love them.
Ah, wonderful. I'm getting tons of questions. I'm looking away. Sometimes I'm trying to keep up with the questions pouring in here. Let's see. There was an audio problem, too, I was trying to fix. Let's see. Okay, wow. Okay, sorry about this. Let's see.
Yeah, no, as you know, I've been doing live streams recently, too, and I know it's tough to speak and then read the comments at the same time. That's a challenge.
Okay, here's one from Cleefy. That's interesting. How do you have strong beliefs and also be open-minded at the same time?
Yeah, excellent, actually. Yeah, it's interesting. People do indeed think that it has to be one or the other. Either you have no beliefs about anything, you are just like a feather who just floats wherever the wind takes you. Otherwise, you have to be a fanatic. And the truth of the matter is, no, it's not a matter of one or the other. In fact, on the contrary, what we have seen from people who are wise in the past, people who are truly wise, is that they understand the absolute nature of what they know to be true on the one hand, but on the other hand, they're at peace with it. In other words, it's not that, okay, understanding certain truths. So, for example, I understand, yes, God exists. I understand I am an eternal soul. I understand that I am meant to have compassion and love for all beings. I understand that there's such a thing as right and wrong, etc. I have absolute understanding about this on the one hand. But on the other hand, it doesn't mean that these are the only things I can talk about and I have to be constantly hitting people over the head with these truths, etc., and be very fanatical about this. No, on the contrary, true wisdom also brings about peace within, to the point where, like with myself, for example, this may surprise people because people know I'm a full-time spiritual teacher. This is literally all I do. People surprised to know I am not always, let's say in mixed company, I'm not always bringing up these topics. So if I'm, let's say, at the supermarket, and I'm talking to the cashier, I will just talk to the cashier about the weather. It's not like as soon as I meet this cashier who I've never seen in my life, oh, and by the way, oh, thank you for the change. And you know that God is a reality? No, I don't bring these topics up. The only time, actually, that I speak about these things that I absolutely know to be true is when people ask me or it's the correct context.
Yeah.
Like this, like an interview. And even then, as you see, I tend to not speak in any kind of fanatical sort of way. So, yes, a person can have very strong beliefs on the one hand, but at the same time, yes, you don't need to be fanatical about these things, to the point where it's the only thing you can talk about. On the contrary, when you truly possess truth, you have peace and you actually have tolerance for people and things around you, like an interview. So yes, it can be done. It doesn't have to be one extreme or the other at all.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now? It sounds like there's a little bit of a gap.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, sorry. Okay, all right.
It's the nature of technology.
Tanushka asks, is it really true that we... Okay, so I guess this is talking about the nature of the difference between ordinary physical love and what she calls kind of uncontrollable or, ideal soul love. Is it really possible to have that kind of soul love, which is different than that kind of physical? I don't know if we physical love... I think this is one of the confusions, right? That we use this word love for so many things that
Exactly.
like I love pizza, like it's hard to we're really talking about very different things, but I guess could you talk about that difference between is it possible? Is it really possible to have that ideal love, the spiritual love, I guess we could call it?
Yeah, and you're right. This is the problem, is that, for example, in ancient Greek, I think they have 7 words for 7 different kinds of love,
Yeah.
and, this is true in Sanskrit. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of words for different manifestations of love. But in English, there's just one word, love, So, it makes it difficult for English speakers especially. Maybe in the future, as an English teacher, you can correct this. You can come up with some more interesting words for different kinds of love.
Yeah.
And we can fix this once and for all. But yes, there are indeed different kinds of love. And while they have to be understood as indeed being different, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily disconnected. This is something that's important for people to understand. So, for example, indeed, when I talk about this very lofty, very transcendent, spiritual sort of love, people mustn't have the idea that, if you have that, that means that, then you're not capable of loving in any other way, including ways that would be considered kind of lower manifestations of love. No, not at all. On the contrary. In fact, the truth of the matter is, if we truly understand love in its transcendent nature, in its highest sense, that is, love of God and then selflessly loving other beings, it's only, in fact, when we understand love in this highest sense that every lower form of love actually comes to its full fruition and is even more satisfying. So this is why, for example, yes, and I always have to make this clear to people. A person, let's say, who is a God-realized person, someone who is a sage, someone who's a yogi, someone who is very lofty and is very close to God, that can be someone who also is married, who also has a husband, wife, someone who is even engaging in physical love and all sorts of what would be considered lower forms of love, just trivial, let's say, mundane kinds of love. A person who loves God can still love their dog.
Yeah, right.
A person who loves God, to use your example, they can still love pizza.
Yeah.
It's not that, now that I love God, all other kinds of love have to disappear. No, it's a matter of understanding first the difference between them. That no, loving pizza is not the same as loving God. So you have to understand the difference. And it's a matter of priority, understanding which is of most importance. Oh, I have the ability, here's a blue pill, red pill scenario. I can take this pill and have love, or I can take this pill and have love of, well, I'm going to take the pill that gives me love of God. Why? Because if I love God, then my expression of love toward all other beings and things will only be greater, will only be more satisfying, will only be more vivid, more real, more rich, more beautiful, more wonderful in every way. So if you want to, let's say you have a husband, you have a wife, and you want to truly love that person to the maximal degree, love God first, because then you will know what is the highest of all loves, and that will then be translated into your love for everyone else. So yeah, it's not a matter of one or the other, but it is priority. The priority is to love God, and then your love for everyone else will become even greater and even better, more fulfilling.
Can you talk about how I kind of thinking of your discussion of a Dharma nation and how really the building blocks of a nation, a nation based on natural law or Dharma, a virtuous nation that that's in my opinion at least is the family. And so again, getting back to the kind of the critical importance of this is that this kind of love that you're talking about, if it's based on this kind of highest love and ideal, then of course the families are stronger. And can you talk about this, how that relates to the nation? How does, this kind of romantic love between two people connect to family, connect to really, this kind of macro level, this big level?
Sure, definitely. Well, it's a matter of understanding love that is horizontal versus love that is vertical. That is love being horizontal, meaning that, of course, yes, we love people on our own level. Again, a man and woman, they come together, they love each other, and then you have children, etc. So yes, you're right. That's a horizontal sort of love where you have love within the family. And yes, indeed, that family is a brick in that massive wall that creates the nation. And now when we think about love that is extended to things that are greater than ourselves, that's the vertical aspect of love. So again, love between two people and their family, that's horizontal. That's, I can look at this person, I love you. That's literally horizontal. But then when it comes to love of greater things, that's vertical. So yes, in addition to love for our spouse, our family, etc., that love does indeed need to be extended, and it is for most people, to then love of their community, literally within a few blocks radius, let's say, if you live in a city, love of the neighborhood, love of people in your city, your state, your nation, but then ultimately, of course, even greater than that. But then when it comes to the nation specifically, yes, you hear people who express this what I consider very healthy sense of patriotism and nationalism. These are anathema words today. These are considered dirty words today, patriotism and nationalism. No, this is something that's natural to the human person, actually. This is something that was always recognized, even by all of the legitimate religions of the world, as being something important. That we love our nation as well, and we're patriotic toward our nation. Why? Well, that is the family writ large. So in other words, it's still family, but extension of the family. You see, why is it that we favor people, let's say, who we know. There are neighbors. Like, oh yes, this person who lives across the street from me. Oh, I've known them for 10 years. You'll favor them over a stranger. Well, this is actually a natural thing. It's because you see them as an extension of your family. What is your family? Your family is not comprised of strangers. It's comprised of people who you've known in many cases, especially if they're your children, all of their lives, and you know them very well, etc. Well, same thing with neighbors. Same thing ultimately with the nation. The nation is an extension of the family. In this case, you may not literally know every citizen of your nation, but at least you know that they are of your nation. So in a way, they're still family. It's kind of like, the great uncle on someone's side who you never actually met, but you know that they're your great great uncle anyway. Maybe you've never met them, you're never going to meet them, but you know that, yes, this is my family. In the same way, this is how love for the nation and the people of the nation is an extension of that love for family, but just in a more vertical sense.
Excellent. Okay, let's see. This is my own question. It's kind of connected to a few comments I've been reading in the live stream, but I guess the best English phrase would be what we might call tough love. But this idea that there's kind of I would call it kind of a new agey idea that when you love, and it's specifically talking about love, between humans, that it just means there's zero discernment, right? And so you just whatever they do, it's all great. I just accept it all. How do you? And I guess maybe at the very highest level, there is an element of that, of what we might call unconditional love. But on the other hand, I think we all know, anyone who's been in the real world knows that people we love may, in fact, do very destructive things or harmful things, and or even people that maybe we care about, in our community, and we're required to be tough with them in some way, right? To have some discernment. So how do we square this idea, or put these two, what's the word I'm looking for? How do we, make decisions in this way? Right. This understanding that on one hand, this kind of, I guess, what I would call very soft, open, love of acceptance and all these things. And on the other hand, that, like, I guess an extreme example, your brother's an alcoholic, and you just keep giving him money and let him live with you, and just, this can actually be destructive if you're too kind in a way. So this relationship, I guess, between discernment, judgment, and unconditional love, and this ideal.
Sure. This is actually a very important question because, yes, many people experience this, where they have this confusion where they think that, yes, love means that you allow the person who you love to indeed do anything, and that's my expression of love for the person. They will even make the mistake, and it's a horrible mistake to make, to think that that's what unconditional love means, that it means that, oh, yes, I will never judge. See, this is where the new age person comes in. I will never judge. Oh, yes, well, my brother is a meth addict, and my sister here is, yes, a severe alcoholic and drinks pints and pints of vodka every day, and she's killing herself. No, I won't say anything, and that's how I express conditional love. No, that's foolish. That's not unconditional love. In fact, that's the opposite of love. That's self-love. That is not even self-love. That is a destructive form of self-centered self-love. That's selfishness, actually. Why? Because rather than through love truly doing the right thing, you're taking the easy route.
Yeah.
You're taking the easy route. You're claiming all these, again, lofty ideas. Oh, yes, this is unconditional love. No, it's laziness and cowardice on your part. The reason why a person does not want to indeed tell this person they love the truth is because they're lazy, they're unintelligent, and they're cowardly. And they want to hide that fact by claiming all these lofty ideals. Oh, yes, I'm expressing unconditional love by not judging and not trying to help these people. No. Again, this is another false dichotomy that you either have unconditional love or you have to tell people the actual truth. And it's a false dichotomy. The truth of the matter is, real love is expressed indeed not just in how it makes you feel, but what is in the best interest of those individuals in question. So, yes, I have a brother who's a meth addict. The way that I truly show my real love for that person is indeed by compassionately confronting them. Again, not with anger, not making them feel bad, but confronting them with compassion and saying, listen, you are my brother. I love you, but the meth has to stop now. And I'm going to help you in any way I can. And yes, we're going to take the meth away from you. I know you're going to protest, but it's literally killing you. You're 30 years old and you look like you're 70 years old because of the meth. It's killing you. We are going to take it away and we're here for you. And it's going to be hard. And of course, the brother's going to protest and yell and scream. But this is the nature of love, is that it is patient and it is giving. So yes, in truly expressing love, we sometimes have to do the hard thing. And we have to judge, indeed, that yes, you're killing you, and it's a correct judgment, and I'm going to help you to not kill yourself because I love you. You see, there are 7 billion people in the world. Why is it that none of the other 7 billion people are trying to help this person, but I am? Because I love this person, because he's my brother. You see? So that, what you've called tough love, that is love. That is true love. And to just be quiet in the face of someone abusing themselves, harming themselves, killing themselves slowly, that's not love. That's cowardice. So this is why I go on and on about the New Age people who their idea of reality is literally the inverse of what is actually reality. They will claim, oh, I'm loving unconditionally, and that means I'm never going to judge anyone, regardless of what they're doing, to harm themselves or others. To harm themselves or, you see, horrible example. What if my other brother is a pedophile? He's harming others.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to claim unconditional love for my excuse for why I don't do something about this. Then I'm lying. I'm lying to myself, and yet that's what New Age people will do all the time. No, what is true love? True love is manifest in the form of compassion toward others. And I understand my brother, yes, he's my brother, but he's abusing children. And those children deserve compassion. Oh, I am going to do something about this. You better believe it. And that's a manifestation of love. Sometimes for people, children who I don't even know who they are, but I know they're being abused, I'm going to put a stop to it. And regardless of anything, that's a manifestation of love. Claiming this New Age trope of, oh, unconditional love, don't judge, unconditional love, don't judge. No, that's cowardice. That lies in the face of actual justice, and true justice is indeed always tempered by love and motivated by love of other. That's true justice when you think about it.
Yeah.
Why do we want justice? Because we see that there are victims. You see, again, this is why New Age people have brought nothing but harm to this world with their don't judge, don't judge. Well, we have a society riddled with victims of people who others refused to judge.
Yeah.
Sexual predators, people stealing from each other, murdering each other, lying, corrupt politicians, etc. Why are these people allowed to victimize millions of people? Because we have foolish individuals who say, don't judge, love unconditionally, and they don't know what they're talking about. They're simply cowards. What does it mean to love? It means you wish justice. You see a victim who has been victimized, who has been hurt, abused. Well, now, out of love, there must be justice. That person must be helped, and the person who harmed that victim must never be allowed to harm anyone again. That is love.
Excellent. Why don't we end with a very practical one, very simple and practical from Lisa again. And this is, just read the question. Here we go. How exactly can we strengthen the feeling of love? So, you love somebody, maybe it's a partner, children, God, at any level, or you have the idea that you want to, but how do you actually strengthen that?
That's actually a very good way to end this, and it's kind of going full circle. The only real way to strengthen love, and in any sense of real love, is indeed spiritually. Because what is spirituality? It is indeed the very deepening of love itself. If I were to give a definition of spirituality, and there are several, this is not the only one, but this is a very good one. What is spirituality and what does it mean to grow spiritually? It means indeed to deepen our love, to deepen our love for God, to deepen our love for our fellow human beings, to deepen our love for all sentient beings, for that matter, not just human beings, to deepen our love for all the animals of nature, for all the forests, for everything that's alive. This is what it means to grow spiritually. So this is what I would say is, if you wish to deepen your love, and again, not just in the most lofty of ways, not just for God, but certainly starting with that. If you want to deepen your love for your husband, your wife, your children, for your neighbors around you, see them as spiritual beings. See them not just as bodies. See them not just as emotion. Because you can't love a robot. I know people are trying to now. But you can't love a robot. You can't love a computer. You can't love a thing, an object. You can't love a hammer. You can't love something that's not alive. Why do we love other living beings? See, why don't we fall in love with a pen? Why don't we fall in love with a hammer? Why don't we fall in love with an object? Because it's not a soul. So how indeed do we deepen our love for other living beings? We recognize them as soul, and we understand who they are on that spiritual level. And that is how we deepen our love. Even just, again, between husband and wife, you see each other not just as that face, because this is the thing, the face that you're so in love with and you think is so beautiful, eventually will get old.
Yeah.
And are you going to love them then? You will, if you understand that they're not just the face, if you understand that they are spirit, Atman, that they are eternal consciousness. So yes, this is the way to deepen our love, is spiritually, by understanding that the person you love is not just that body, that face, that physicality, but they are that person who is within, and to understand ultimately that that's who you are in love with, is who they are in their ultimate sense, spiritually, as souls.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. Whoops, let me switch my camera. Thank you so much, as always. I apologize for some of the technical problems today, but
Nope.
yeah, wonderful as always, and definitely we'll have you back again. I hope this gave people some kind of deeper thoughts about love as we come into Valentine's Day. It's kind of a topic people are thinking about, but I really loved that final connection you made, that really love and spiritual practice are one and the same.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, they are the same. What does it mean to be a spiritual practitioner if you don't deepen your love?
Yes, thank you so much.
That's how you know that you're truly on the right path.
Mm.
If you are a so-called spiritual person, but you're not dedeening your love, look into a different path.
Yes, indeed. And I sorry, I keep talking forever, but because indeed, I've growing up, I met people who were, let's say, highly religious, who, but something seemed off because they just seemed so bitter and unhappy, and I thought that there was a disconnect there, like that how can they actually, how can this be a good path if it's leading them to become bitter? Whereas people like yourself, I find, are just joyful and loving and caring. You can feel it right away.
Yeah, that's how you know that you're on the right path. Necessarily, if you are spiritual, you love, and the more spiritual you are, the more you love.
Yes,
it's that simple.
Thank you so much. I'll have you back again for sure if you'll come.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure speaking with you. Definitely. Thank you so much for having me on.
Acharya, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Please take care.
Bye for now. Okay, so I apologize for a few of the technical problems. I know there were some audio problems there. They changed my software. Every time I update my software, they change something. And then I don't realize it. So anyway, I think we had double audio there for a little while, which is why some of you were complaining about an echo. That's why. So that was my fault because I updated the software and I didn't realize that the settings get changed sometimes when I do that. Anyway, very interesting topic, and we'll talk more about love this month. Of course, it's the month of Valentine's Day. It's kind of it's a popular holiday in the United States, and like so many of the holidays, the traditions in America, it has lost its deeper meaning. Right? We talked about this at Christmas time. How Christmas, in fact, traditionally is a very, 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 very deep and meaningful holiday time celebration. But on the other hand, how the sort of modern media version, and especially in the United States and America, has taken away all the deeper meaning of it. And I feel, St. Valentine's Day, I mean, first of all, it's named after a saint, so you can kind of see already that there is probably a spiritual or religious part to it, right? Aspect to it, that its roots are in fact religious, because it is a celebration of a saint. And then just beyond that, specifically, that again, that this is supposed to be a holiday about love and not just candy and chocolate hearts and that kind of stuff, which is what it is now. One second, I just gotta change something really quick, and I'll talk to you all for just a few more minutes. I just have to do some moderating. So I was sorry about just a little bit. Here we go. This guy gets banned. Banned! You're banned! Okay. So we're going to talk about this more. I think it was a couple months ago, I did a topic about C.S. Lewis's book. I think he calls it, is it the Four Loves, he calls it? But anyway, he discusses kind of 4 different types of love, kind of addressing what Acharya was saying, that and what I was saying, that in English, it's a little hard to discuss this topic in English, because like he said, in Greek, they have I think he said 7 or more words for love, the different kinds of love, like the love that you have in friendship, the love that you have for your children, what we might call romantic love, the love of God, spiritual love. And so in English, we have this word love. And so what we have to do in English, this is just a little language tip, guys. In English, we have to put an adjective in front of it, right? Or we have to put another word in front of it. We have to create a phrase so that when we're talking about these different kinds of love, or else it's very confusing, right? You say love, love, love. I love my dog. I love pizza. I love sleeping. I love God. I love my wife. I love my children, right? Love, love, love. Same word, but in each of those situations, we're obviously talking about something very different. And so how do we talk about it in English and not get confused? And so what we do is we have to create a phrase, right? Like C.S. Lewis called, or sometimes we can use a synonym, right? So C.S. Lewis, for example, he talked about 4 different kinds of love. And I'm trying to remember what he called the highest one, maybe spiritual love. And then he talked about what he called affection. And he was using it in a little bit different way than we normally do. But affection meaning that love that we have for people in our lives, that we have in our lives, that kind of grows with time, right? And then I think he called friendship love. And then for the physical part, we might just say lust, right? That physical desire or attraction. So we have to choose different words or use adjectives or create phrases or something, just so that we can kind of understand the different things we're talking about. All right, so we'll talk more about this topic this month. Thank you, Acharya, as always, and I will see you all again. Thank you for joining live, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.